There are places where the sea never feels empty, even when the horizon is clear. Orkney is one of them. Wind drags across stone, salt settles into wood and field. Night falls fast over the water, and once the last color drains from the sky, the islands can seem less like the edge of Scotland and more like the edge of something older. Beauty and severity have always lived together in Orkney. Ancient stones stand in open fields. Crofts sit under enormous skies. The same sea that feeds an island can also isolate it, bury boats, strip coasts, and turn a clear evening into a threat before midnight. In such a place, folklore did not grow out of comfort. It grew out of pressure. Old island stories rarely feel decorative. They feel practical. They explain what cannot be controlled and give shape to what cannot be seen. Hunger, weather, illness, bad seasons, ruined fields, all of these leave marks on the land, but they also leave marks on the imagination. In Orkney, one of those marks became a name people treated with caution. That name was the Nuckelavee. It was not remembered as a tempter, a trickster, or a spirit with hidden motives. It was remembered as raw hostility, a thing from the sea, a bringer of blight, a creature blamed for disease among animals, ruin in the fields, and a sense of dread that seemed to move ashore with weather and darkness. Some Orcadian tellings place the Nuckelavee inside a larger struggle. During the warmer months, the sea myther, a strong protective spirit of the sea, was said to hold darker forces down. Under her restraint, storms eased, waters calmed, and the worst old threats stayed beneath the surface. Summer, in that worldview, was not peace by accident. It was peace being maintained. But no protection lasts forever in folklore. As the year turned and the sea myther weakened, harsher forces began to stir. Autumn did not simply mean colder air. It meant restraint loosening. It meant old dangers testing the shore again. In places exposed to winter and salt, that idea would not have felt absurd. It would have felt uncomfortably close to experience. That seasonal rhythm matters because it makes the Nuckelavee feel like part of the land rather than separate from it. The creature belongs to a cycle of weather, vulnerability, and return. It is not hiding in a cave waiting for a story to find it. It rises when conditions favor fear, when the coast goes dark early and the year begins to feel less forgiving. Then there is the form itself, the reason the creature stayed fixed in memory long after the people who first described it were gone. At a great distance, it might almost resemble a rider on horseback. That false familiarity is one of the most cruel details in the legend. The mind reaches for what is ordinary first. It does so because the ordinary still feels survivable. The closer it came, the less human it became. The lower body was horse-like, massive and powerful, but grotesque in proportion and movement. The head stretched long and cruel. One eye burned like a live coal. The mouth seemed too wide, too knowing, too full of malice for any ordinary beast. It did not look like an animal corrupted by darkness. It looked like darkness wearing an animal's shape. From its back rose the torso of a man, except no man was ever meant to be shaped like this. The upper body had no legs. It seemed fused into the horse body, as though rider and mount had once been separate and then been forced together into one permanent violation. Its shoulders were huge. Its arms were long enough to swing low as it moved. The head was remembered as heavy and hideous, the mouth jutting forward in a sneer that looked part human and part animal. Every part of the Nuckelavee denies proportion. Every part tells the eye that the creature is assembled from familiar things, only so those familiar things can be turned hateful. But the detail that made the Nuckelavee unforgettable was this: it had no skin, none. Red flesh lay exposed to the air, yellow veins twisted beneath the surface. Dark blood showed where no blood should ever be visible. It looked less like a wounded thing than like the inside of a body dragged outward and given life through rage alone. That image is why the legend still feels severe today. It was not merely ugly, it was obscene in the oldest sense of the word, a violation of how living things are meant to appear. The creature did not seem injured, it seemed complete in its horror. That may be why the legend remained so vivid. Ordinary monsters can be forgotten. A thing that looks like anatomy itself, rebelling against nature, is harder to lose. The Nuckelavee's breath was feared almost as much as its body. Old stories tied it to blight in the fields, disease among livestock, and long spells of suffering that seemed to poison whole communities. When crops withered and animals weakened, the creature's name gave those losses direction. Disaster no longer felt random. It had arrived from somewhere. It had crossed the shore. This is where folklore often becomes most powerful. It does not simply invent fear, it gathers real fear and gives it a body. Failed harvests, foul air, thin animals, bad weather, fear of winter. All of these can be carried inside one image if the image is strong enough. In Orkney, that image became a skinless rider from the sea. Among the stories told of the Nuckelavee, one survived more firmly than the others. It is the story of one ordinary man walking home at night. The man was called Tammas. He had been out late and was returning home beneath a clear sky and a hard white moon. The road ran with the sea on one side and fresh water on the other. It was an ordinary road until the moment it stopped being one. At first, Tammas saw only a figure ahead, large, moving steadily. Then the shape altered. The upper half seemed too high. The arms swung too low. The movement had a wet heaviness to it. Moonlight reached the creature in pieces. First the bulk of the horse body, then the raised torso, then the shine of exposed flesh. At last the single eye became visible, fixed and burning. The Nuckelavee did not rush. It came on with the patience of a tide. As it approached, the smell reached him. Rot, salt, heat, sickness. Tammas recalled one rule from the old stories: fresh water. The Nuckelavee could not bear it. He edged sideways, step by step, keeping the creature in sight while drifting toward the water. The Nuckelavee kept coming. The road had become a corridor between two powers. On one side lay the sea, escape on the other. Tammas stepped into the loch. Only a little at first. Water broke around his boots. The reaction was immediate. The Nuckelavee recoiled with violent disgust. Tammas moved deeper, then broke into a run toward a stream farther ahead. Behind him, the Nuckelavee recovered and surged forward again. Every hoofbeat felt heavier. Every breath seemed hotter. Tammas reached the stream. He jumped. The leap was panic given direction. Water burst up around him. He stumbled, turned, and saw the Nuckelavee stop at the edge of the stream. The creature raged there, but would not cross. It stretched its arms toward him and opened its mouth in a shriek that seemed to tear the quiet apart. Tammas lived, but survival in stories like this is never simple. A man who had seen the Nuckelavee would not return unchanged. This legend endured because it is precise. Communities under repeated threat often shape fear into a single symbolic body. The Nuckelavee was that vessel. Its weakness to fresh water also carries a deeper meaning. In island stories, boundaries are everything, salt and fresh. The Nuckelavee belongs to one side of those divisions and cannot cross them freely. The creature is enormous, overwhelming, yet the force that stops it is narrow and clear. It belongs to weather, horizon, and coastline. The Nuckelavee belongs to Orkney's second face, the one shaped by exposed coasts and the knowledge that survival is never fully guaranteed. Moonlight is central to its power. It reveals enough to injure reason, while hiding enough to let dread expand. The Nuckelavee belongs exactly in that light. The road Tammas walked feels designed by folklore. Sea on one side, fresh water on the other. Without that narrow geography, the story would lose its force. The ending offers no easy closure. The Nuckelavee is not destroyed. It is merely denied this one life on this one night. Folklore often treats evil that way as something held off or survived. By morning, the road would look ordinary again. The sea would keep its silence, but Tammas would know what had crossed the dark. The Nuckelavee remains where it has always belonged, half in folklore and half in the memory of the landscape. It waits in moonlit roads, where distant figures arrive a little too slowly and look familiar for a moment too long.